please pick up the phone?
So something a bit different, just to fill in the gaps before I do more travel type videos and stuff. I'm going to be short of time later today, and so I'm going to knock up a quick rice seafood meal. So basically the first thing I do is measure out like about a cup of rice if there's two of you, but obviously half a cup if there's just yourself. And basically I just use the Easy Cook American rice. The only thing with that is that you won't get sticky rice because it's washed and cleaned and everything else, so it just about covers the bottom of the dish. So I've boiled the kettle just now. I'll just reboil it. And then all I do then, once the kettle's boiled, because it speeds things up, is basically pour the water in until it's about the same amount of water on top of the depth of rice. One thing I've discovered when I was in Asia recently, obviously in Philippines, because the rice is unprocessed and very sort of raw, I put double the amount of water in and then boil it, and completely different method of cooking it, because the first few times I cooked rice there, it just didn't come out right, and Angelica told me that I can't cook rice. I'm afraid I can, my dear, but in the way I know. So once it's there in the dish, I'm then basically using the microwave, so because it's the quickest way of doing it. So with the microwave, this one's I haven't got the base plate in. This one's a 850 watts, so slightly bigger than normal. But I find if you put the rice on for about 7 minutes and then leave it for a while, or leave it until you need it later, it tends to come out at the right consistency. So you know, that's what we do. So they're leaving that cooking for the minute, and then be using it later on. So welcome back. It's now the evening. It's about 20 to 8 in the evening. So I've had quite a busy day, so I'm going to crack on with cooking this like seafood rice dish, just to knock something up quite quickly. So the rice from earlier was just left in the microwave to cool and stuff for the last few hours, and that's basically now nice and fluffy and ready. I've chopped up some red peppers, or capsicum as you would call them if you're in the States or in the Philippines, some broccoli, some garlic, and some spring onions, or scallions as you might call them. So they're all cut, they're ready. We've got the pan gradually heating up, and what I'm going to use is some oyster sauce, give it some flavour along with the garlic. This is a new bottle. What I normally do with this is once I've used some in it, I add water because it makes it flow easier and mix with the rice. So the first time I use it, it's a bit gloopy, so to speak. So now here's the little trick to make the seafood, speed it up, and have a meal within a short period of time. I'm using cooked mussel meat and also some cooked prawns or shrimp, just the small size ones. And the first thing we need to do now really is to cook up the broccoli, because that takes the longest, and the red pepper or capsicum. So let's just get this here. before I start, this is one of the important ingredients. You know, you can't cook without this. Cheers. Nice bit of roca. So, rapeseed oil is what I'm using because it's quite low cholesterol. Doesn't impart any funny flavours. So just a splash of that. Get the broccoli, throw it in, turn the heat up. Same with the peppers. Throw them in. The garlic I'm going to leave until a little bit later because it burns very easily. Same with the scallions, the spring onions. Also, what I'm going to use, which I just remembered, I got some chestnut mushrooms in the fridge. I'm just going to get those out and chop those up. That's it. Just bear with me. So I've turned the heat down low. It's only been cooking for a couple of minutes because now what I want to do is, in this one again, trying to make a tasty meal in a short amount of time, is just add a couple of eggs. So turn the heat down low that we have. Basically crack them into it. Don't hang about and wait long before you start stirring it around. You don't want it to stick. Starts to a bit with this, unfortunately. But as soon as you can get the egg to start setting, the better. So, now we've got the egg just drying nicely. So the next thing is, we've got our rice. Let's stir our rice in. As you can see, it's not sticky at all. This is just typical of an easy cook Western rice. And when I was in the Philippines the last few months, I just couldn't get the rice to dry out like this. If I did, it was like hard and crunchy. But also because of the culture of eating with your hands, in a lot of cases, you couldn't really have the rice like this because you'd have to eat it with a spoon, which is, you know, the spoon and the fork are the main utensils over there, not a knife and fork. So like I say, now we mix this together. Because I'm trying to create it as a fried rice as such, another little splash of the rapeseed oil. Now I'm going to add a couple of bloops of the oyster sauce. Also, because I'm a pepper freak, I always add pepper. I add very little salt into my dishes because in most cases they've got salt with them. In this it hasn't, but I prefer it without. So we're getting like a nice mix now, like a paella type mix, yeah? So, okay. So again, that's mixed, got the heat on. Leave that for a couple of minutes, but occasionally turn it because it will start to stick quite quickly. And now I'm going to add the mussels. The mussels and shrimp, prawns. Had this argument about what they were called so many times with Angelica. But in the UK we know them as prawns because of the size. So once I put those with it, literally just turn them in because they're already cooked. So what we're just trying to do here is get a little bit of heat into them, yeah? So And with this dish, as usual, I always seem to cook for two, even though it's just me here. So what I'll probably do with this is stick some in the fridge for tomorrow as well, or even freeze it down. Freezing down should be reasonably okay with this dish. So next thing we want to do really is just cover it with a lid, just to get the heat building up. So let's see what I've got as far as lid goes. Right, I'm going to use this massive great lid, but it just keeps the heat retained. And like I say, you're trying not to dry or shrink the prawns and mushrooms and stuff too much. So just wait for a little while with that. Another sip of the nice red. And soon we'll be ready. Okay, so it's now got a nice bit of heat into it, so it's ready to serve up. One thing that I really couldn't get my head around at first in the Philippines was the way that all the food wasn't really served hot. Obviously it was cooked, but there was no rush to serve it. And 9 times out of 10, everywhere you went, including the home cooking, the food was just like lukewarm. But you soon realise why, because it's so hot over there. The last thing you want to do is eat a hot meal, sweat buckets. So I got used to eating the lukewarm food. Some of the English dishes I cooked over there had to be hot, but you sit there sweating. So anyway, so we're ready now on the piece de resistance to serve this up. So I think so far, let's try not to spill it everywhere. So just put a nice dot of food on the plate. It's a cold winter's evening here. It's below freezing, so although you guys in the northern states would not blink an eyelid at that, for us in the UK, in the south of the UK as well, we don't get the weather that cold so often. And as I've just come back from the Philippines, I'm like freezing to death. So basically I've got the fire blazing away in the living room. I've got the heating on, central heating on, and now I'm going to eat a hot meal. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. This is how to make a quick meal. It's taken about 15-20 minutes, I suppose, and then another 10 minutes just to prepare stuff. Secret is to have everything ready when you do like a stir-fry meal, so you don't have to keep rushing back and forward. Have it all cut, prepared, your sauce is ready, the lot, and then you can't go wrong. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Obviously I'm going to do more videos soon based on the Philippines as my experiences there, but also there are going to be a lot of videos in the next few months on home life in the UK. So please like and subscribe, and have a good evening, good morning, wherever you are now. Cheers.